Welcome to the first episode of Folklore Diaries, where we will be discussing these horrors of ancient Arabia, the Ifrit. These are creatures that hide in shadows, and legions of them have plagued humanity since history was written down on pieces of papyrus or on stone tablets. These creatures are known as Jinn, monstrosities and beasts that from long ago have served as nightmares and stories to tell children in order to get them to obey. One such Jinn is the accursed Ifrit, a creature that lurks within the dark shadows of Egypt, guarding tombs of ancient pharaohs and serve as creatures of horror for every man, woman and child. Legend has it that the Ifrit served the will of pharaohs back in ancient Egypt, and that to be cursed by their wrath was to summon an Ifrit upon you. So, what exactly are Ifrits? Well, they are mythical creatures that date all the way back to ancient Arabian folklore. Their creature originated from their world creation story, and due to its age and origins is an incredibly feared and well-respected figure within Arabic history. They're said to be a type of jinn that have a wild and rebellious nature. In fact, the very word Ifrit seems to reference the subcategory of the spirits of this jinn. In terms of physical appearance of Ifrit, they are said to be truly huge creatures with large wings. This specific subcategory of jinn is said to be made of smokeless flames and are often depicted as having terrifying features that strike fear into the heart of humans. Old depictions of the Ifrit suggest that these creatures often always had fangs or horns. They are said from many descriptions to be capable of appearing in any shape or form they desire and can appear in the shape of an animal, preferring dogs, or a person with no obviously threatening characteristics. It is said that Ifrit who choose to take human form normally look like they have been burned by a fire due to the flame form natural to the Ifrit. Although ancient legends claim that Ifrit are made from this smokeless flame and humans are said to be made of clay, it is possible for the Ifrit and human to reproduce. However, despite this said possibility, is said to be a very rare thing, as many Ifrits choose to marry within their own race. Now the question is, who are the Ifrits? Well, according to ancient mythology, they were one of the very first groups of beings created by Allah, and they were a very proud and powerful race. However, when humans were introduced, they posed a problem for the Ifrit and other forms of jinn. They could not see how such a weak and powerless race such as humanity could even rival their superior and beautiful form. It was like comparing cheese to chalk. One such jinn named Iblis was in fact so bothered by the creation of humanity that he became disobedient towards Allah, and so was cast out of the Almighty's good graces. Whilst he should have been killed for all he did, he was granted leave and respite until the final judgment day. However, despite the mercy shown to him, he still has a huge grudge towards humanity due to his loss in favor, and because of said grudge, he is said to drive all humans astray in hopes of dishonoring the human race in the eyes of the Almighty. Many people believe that he is the Islamic equivalent of Satan, as he is the jinn who is said to have tempted Adam and Eve and caused them to be cast out of the original paradise. However, though Iblis is thought to have caused the original fall of man, there are notable differences in the interpretations of each text, the Quran and the Bible. The most noticeable difference is that Iblis is not even seen as a rival of Allah, like Lucifer, aka Satan himself. He never seeks to fight Allah when Judgment Day arrives, but he will die with all the other souls who ever defied the Almighty. He is not seen as an angel because he was given free will, and Islam dictates that all angels will obey their creator. So besides Iblis, the other rather well-known Ifrit within folklore was known as Hamou Ukaio. They were an evil, cruel Ifrit who was said to have been married to other jinn named Aicha Kandida. The couple is well known for their similar night hunting tactics, with the only difference being that Hamou preys only on women, whilst Aicha prefers to prey on men. Hamou is known for targeting women who travel out alone at night in the hopes of finding the right opportunity to attack and fully devour them. He is a truly fearful entity and is part of the reason female travelers are recommended to not ever venture out on their own at night. Although most Ifrit are not affected by human weapons, it is thought that sharpening a knife on the ground may be a cause for Hamou Ukaio to flee from their intended targets with the use of magic. So the question now is, are Ifrits all evil beings? Well, no. Though an Ifrit is usually considered an evil or malevolent being, there is in fact a possibility that these beings can have pure souls. They are similar to humans in that they are given free will and therefore are able to make decisions about how they live their lives. They can be true believers or non-believers, and could be a good honest creature or have malicious evil natures. Ifrit who believe in Allah are thought to sometimes appear in the homes of good Muslims in the form of a snake. Because of this, it is forbidden to kill them before the name of Allah has been mentioned to them at least 3 times to warn them. If the snake remains within the home of the believer, it is safe to assume that it is a devil and can be killed without question. However, if the snake slithers off, leaving the occupants alone, then it can be said that it was a good Ifrit. So we have learned they can both be good and bad, that they can take human form and can even reproduce with humans. But something left unanswered is whether or not this terrifying creature can even be killed. It is thought that the only true way to hold power over one of these jinn is to use magic. Although they are truly very strong creatures and rather durable, they are not in fact beings of magic, despite their smokeless flame forms. Therefore, the use of magic presents a unique opportunity for humans, as with it, they can defend themselves from the evil Ifrit and even kill them or even bind them to their own service. This use of magic by humans is the only thing that the Ifrits and other jinn truly fear when dealing with humans, as it can put them at a huge disadvantage. Magic is said to be able to even bind Ifrits to certain different objects, and then whoever owns the object containing the bound Ifrit was said to be the creature's master. Though magic was the most known way of harming or capturing the Ifrit, there were in fact other ways you could overpower the jinn. One of the other most common ways was for an ordinary citizen to protect themselves via simply reciting a dua. A dua is considered a profound act of worship, and so it would make perfect sense for it to protect a person from a less than pure creature. So what can one do with a trapped Ifrit? Because a person can use magic over an Ifrit or harm them and bind them to an object, there is a legend that via this object the Ifrit can give 3 wishes to the owner. It is thought that if a person were to come across an item that had an Ifrit bound within it, that the person would be granted 3 wishes if they were to rub or attempt to clean up the object. However, it was important to note that like genies, the enslaved Ifrit are still incredibly cunning and sly creatures, and would often use the wording of the wish against the master. For an example, if one were to wish for a new car, then perhaps a close friend may die, and then the Ifrit would gift them in some way for the master to now be able to buy the new car. So viewers, that's it for this episode of Folklore Diaries, where we discussed the dangerous Ifrit, the Islamic Jinn. Down in the comments below, comment what 3 wishes you would ask for if you were to get hold of an Ifrit bounded in an object. But do remember how you word things.